I just figured this out actually just for this. Sevon told me to use this software.
I was about to say, this seems like a Savon introduction based off of knowing him.
Yeah.
That's what he always gets me to use.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, no, it's kind of different to see this kind of scenario of how you're doing
Yeah.
Talk to everybody.
I'll tell you what, I was saying this to some of my some people I work with, and even some of the athletes, that it's cool to talk to you guys before going to the games, because sometimes when I go to the games, like I haven't. First of all, there's a lot of people, especially in this newer generation, that I just don't know.
Yeah.
And just catching up with people, and even catching up with Jason. Like the last time I talked to him at the games, there was an awkward conversation. So it's nice to kind of break the ice before seeing you guys out there. But someone like you, I mean, we go way back. How many times have you been to the games?
I mean, this is 9. I mean, the first one was 2013. So, I mean, that was back with literally Graham, Rich, Spieler, Dan, like those days. I mean, look, I'm the only one from 2013 right now. I'm the only one still going, baby.
When did Cole Sager start then?
I think that him and Noah were 14.
You two, I view you and Cole kind of as like a bridge from the last generation to the new generation.
Yeah,
you guys are like the last.
We're the last era. We're the last ones hanging on for dear life.
How old are you now?
33.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not that old. I mean, I just have been in it for a long time. So I think that's even the bigger thing, because people are like, oh, you going Masters? And I was like, I'm not able to. Still got 2 more years technically before that could even happen if I wanted to.
I don't know if there's anybody in the modern era who's been able to go all the way 33, 34, 35 as on the women's side. Sam Briggs did, but on the men, have there been any men who've been able to qualify each year as an individual and then this transition over to the Masters?
I don't know.
Yeah, especially nowadays, it's getting harder and harder as these young guys come up.
No, that's like even at semifinals, you looked at me when we finished the.
I know.
Like, what are you still doing out here?
Well, I remember. I thought you retired or something last year. You were off. Yeah.
Yeah, I got hurt at Wodapalooza and ended up not being able to bear any weight on my hand. So in the open, I couldn't do. I was like, there won't be muscle ups or anything. And then week 1, there was muscle ups. I was like, all right, well, this is it. So then at that point, like I couldn't do anything. So it was like that I was out at that point.
And that happened in Wodapalooza?
Yeah.
How many competitions outside of the games in a given year do you try to do?
I mean, so last year getting hurt, my plan was like, all right, make Rogue like essentially the mini games, since that's like the next biggest one. And then I did Madrid, Rogue, and then Wodapalooza have been what I've done kind of in the years past. And that's probably what I'll do again. I mean, I think it's awesome that Rogue's going to Scotland, which is pretty cool. So that would be kind of like one to want to do. And then I've heard mix of like Madrid being potentially different, but each time I've gone to Madrid, I've gotten tattoos. So it's part of like makes it an easy transition to be like, all right, well, we'll just get some tattoos while we're there and then get to compete as well.
What's the competition out there?
The Madrid Championships.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, more the European side of things than the people from the States. So it's kind of cool to get to compete with the guys that you don't ever really get to at like Wodapalooza and things that you get to compete.
What about this West Coast event that the Wodapalooza guys are running?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be fun. I mean, I think it's cool to get kind of a bigger one back out there. I mean, I feel like I kind of feel like big event like that was like OC Throwdown, like back in the day, right? Like that was one of the big ones. And then the workouts just became insane.
Yeah.
Jumping over steel and those kind of things, maybe not the best kind of workouts, but I think just getting back to the West Coast is always fun.
God, when you're talking about OC Throwdown, you are old school.
Dude, I mean, that was literally, I remember we had the double 53, like kettlebell 5K run, and they just bang on the back of your head the whole time. There was one event that no one even, they had this like massive rig set up, and it was absurd about how they did it, but there was this large cargo net at the end, and no one even got to it. I think there was only one, Sam Briggs, I think, was the only female to even touch it. And I was like, man, you guys spent money on all this stuff, and no one even got to it.
That's funny. Since you have so much experience at the games, what's one event that we did where you're like, that you still think of as just a waste of time or dumb? What is something we've done that?
time. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you what your favorite is. I'm going to ask you what your least favorite is. What is something you did that you're like, I didn't like that for whatever reasons. We shouldn't have programmed it, etc.
Oh man. I don't feel like I've ever really been asked this question. I don't know. Man, I'm trying to like think back to all the workouts that we've done and
Or even that, and I'll lead into this. Just in overall games where you were like,
uh, I mean my favorite ones are definitely the early ones.
yeah,
I think like the 13, 14, 15, the just like long grind, like the burden run still is like a staple of like
yeah,
one of the coolest ones. I think the capital that we did a couple years ago was awesome. It's just different, right? Like I think, and that's what everybody loves about the games is just the variety that you get versus the traditional, like, right, thruster pull up. Like we all know that
yeah.
stuff's coming. Man, one I don't like.
Do you really like? I've asked a few other athletes this, but do you enjoy training for like just everything basically? Like
Yeah,
obviously there's some boundaries to what how far we'll go out and
yeah.
how wild we'll be. So you have a general idea of what to train for, but do you really enjoy just being
Yeah.
prepared for it all?
For me, honestly, the games training has always been like the most fun that I always look forward to. Like it's almost like, all right, just get past the open regional semifinal, like, and then let me like the game stuff is the stuff that I like enjoy. The more odd object, the strongman, the weird swimming events, the
Yeah.
kayak, right? Like all those kind of things that we've gotten to do. I think that's what like I feel like is ultimately testing more like, okay, let's see what you can do kind of like in these scenarios that you don't have like just the gym. And I think sometimes we always do so much of just like inside the gym, right? Like the normal 21, 15, 9, those kind of things, and burpee, chest to bar. I'm like, all right, we all know that. But it's always fun to get to try new implements or the snail, the pig. I mean, shoot, we ran around with those wooden logs back in the day. Like I mean, it's come a long way, but I think
Yeah.
the games training to me has always been probably the most exciting and fun stuff because it's so much variety, right? So it makes every day you're going into training something new. You're in the pool way more or a lake. Like you just get out and almost like nature. It's almost like nice. Like a mountain bike a couple times a week, a road bike. You're like, man, I don't ever get to do this like kind of during the season because there's no real need. And
Yeah.
it's not really like necessary where that's like something I'm like, man, I really love this stuff.
Do you have children now too, right?
Yeah, I have 4. Yeah.
Damn. So when did you have your first kid?
2015. So
So pretty early on your journey. So
yeah,
you're used to training a lot and balancing family.
yeah. I mean, that's always. I mean, right. So I've been an affiliate owner for 10 years, have 4 kids, and then been competing the whole time throughout that. So it's just a good balance. I got a good support crew and wife, and it definitely makes the process a little easier to be able to do that, right? And it's nice because my wife's a teacher, so she has summers off, so it kind of like works perfectly with our schedule of she's home during the summer, so games training is easier because it's not like we're having to worry about the kids because they're at home with her. So you're not having to be at daycare or school or wherever else they need to go.
How many hours a day, like right now, are you training in general?
Man, probably 6 to 7.
Do you ever wonder? I wonder this question. Do you ever wonder if that's just too much?
No, I mean, I think part of that too is right is like you always try to kill us, and so I think part of it is making sure that our bodies don't
Or-
fall apart by the end of potentially 13 to 15 events. So making sure that my body can withstand it. But I mean, I think part of it too, right, is like it's more also the recovery, the time that you're spending warming up, cooling down.
yeah. When you people, I think when some people hear 6 to 7, it's people can confuse the 6 to 7 thinking it's like what their 1 hour in an affiliate is like. And you guys will spend a long time warming up, a very long time doing recovery, working
Yeah.
technique, etc.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that varies definitely on the stages. Like right now, like on Fridays, we have a day where it's pretty much like 4 workouts that's just like pure CrossFit, kind of like
Yep.
night light testing essentially. And it's like on a 90-minute to 2-hour clock that we just do back to back to back.
Which makes sense to kind of replicate the demands of what might happen at the
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's like, right, those workouts can be anywhere from 4 minutes to 20 minutes, but the warm up time and other things leading on to that day definitely adds up to being more than a couple hours. So it's just being able to separate it and figure it out. But is it enough or too much? I've been doing this, I feel like, long enough that I'm going to say no, just based off of how I usually feel on Sunday, that I think it's usually pretty good.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
When will you start tapering or coming down?
I usually like to still breathe pretty hard, pretty close up is what I've like discovered over the years, is that I like to not necessarily, like, we definitely take off the volume, but the intensity is usually pretty high, still just going up to almost like Monday and Tuesday. Because I'm like, that's what we do almost every day. And when I start to feel too fresh, I'm like, I never feel this way. Like, the odds of me ever feeling fresh are very slim. So that when it happens, it almost takes, I feel like, a few workouts to get going, to where I'm like sore and I'm like, all right, there it is. There we go. Now the body's feeling normal. But I think I like to feel a little sore and just normal almost.
That makes sense. And you're still with Training Think Tank?
Yeah. So me and Max have been together for, I guess, since 2012.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen him. I don't think I saw him at the semifinal, but he was there, right?
Yeah, he was there. He's probably just
Okay.
off doing something.
Yeah. I'll have one final question and then I'll let you
Yep.
ask me a question. So do you do any, do you train? Do you do any classes in your affiliate?
Do I train? Yes, I definitely train.
Like train people, like you run
Yeah,
like do classes.
Yeah, I coach roughly 6 classes a week, and then I personal train a few people throughout the week.
So you're definitely, I would say that's like not the norm amongst the competitive athletes anymore.
Oh, definitely not. But I mean,
Yeah.
right, the majority of them don't own an affiliate. Like,
Yep.
I've for quite some time, and I think being part of the community and still being involved with them, coaching, helping, I think is one just important, right? Like, from a membership base of being able to do that. And I think it's also cool that they get to see, because we do have, like, Alexis is in the gym, I'm in the gym, we have a lot of people that come into town to train, that they get this kind of like cool opportunity to see all these different athletes train, and then also just get to meet them that you don't usually get in that scenario. And I think for them, it just lets them know, like, man, they're just normal people that are here to work out. And then it's even cool when people drop in and they're like, you're coaching? And I'm like, yep, I still
That's
coach
awesome.
multiple
That's
classes
awesome.
and do things. I just think it's an important thing to do, from like owning the gym, that you want to be part of that and not just own the gym and then not actually do anything with it. Like, I actually enjoy coaching. I like have fun doing that. And I think it's cool to share the knowledge that I've learned over the years to everybody trying to learn a new skill or technique of something that's like, hey, this might work, or this strategy might work. And do they listen or not? But you kind of try.
Well, you're definitely leading from the front, so that's super cool.
Yeah,
so do you have any questions for me?
Let's see. Who's the next owner of CrossFit?
Oh man, I don't. That's a good one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know. I just don't know. That's all I got. I didn't expect that question. That's good though.
Look, you get involved in kind of all of it. You see all sides of it. You see the competitive side of it. You see the affiliate side of it. You see it all. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this would be a good one. We'll kind of see.
Oh yeah.
If he knows from that side.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well, then how about this? I guess here would be another follow-up question.
Yep.
Do you ever think that, like, Rogue would potentially partner and do a games, and then it kind of travels the world, versus like you know how like
a series of events?
Yeah, like, but right, like, that's kind of more on a larger scale of kind of like a mini Olympics, right? For us, like, which is the games, like, right, how they're going to Scotland. If you started teetering with taking the games other places to like kind of see, like, you look at the European semifinal, right, and almost from like a fan perspective, it looks packed and like.
Well, do you mean just for the single games, or do you mean like a series of high level events?
I mean, I think it could be,
because for the games, definitely, like, we've talked about this in other places. We're definitely looking at taking overseas soon.
Yeah.
For the games. But expanding it to like a series of events, yes, that would be awesome. I don't think we're there just yet, but I would love to do something like that in the future for the growth of it and for for opportunities for everyone, but currently no.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good idea.
You never know. I'd like to see it expand, you know?
I would too. Yeah, for sure. All right, Travis. Well, thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks for
And
having me.
thanks for jumping on a Saturday.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.